Ray, and then for Mr. Tapan Ray to give us his inaugural address. Thank you, Tapan.
Good morning, and thanks, Ajit. At the very outset, I would like to make a very small correction that Marketing Excellence Award of Glaxo was in 1996, and 1966 I was in schools. Anyway, Mr. Ajit Singh, Dr. Dangi, Mr. Joshi, and the dignitaries and delegates of the seminar. It's indeed a matter of pleasure for me to be here with all of you to inaugurate the full-day seminar and training program on negotiation skills. I'm particularly happy as I am revisiting OPPI on this occasion. I had the privilege of being the president of OPPI, although for a short period. I am grateful to know that OPPI is going strong and is fast establishing a place of prominence in the new knowledge economy. The OPPI Exports and Materials Management Committee, under the chairmanship of Mr. Ajit Singh, you all know, has organized a seminar, and I congratulate Ajit and his colleagues for taking this much needed initiative. Although negotiation may be a rather intimidating word for some of us, like me, it may help to know that this is a skill which all of us have already used to some degree, and probably many more times than we realize. We all negotiate every day in business and pursuing a career, when looking for a car or a home, inside and outside the office, and even at home with the family and friends. The stakes may be different in each case, but the common thread running through them is the need for negotiation skill. Negotiating is an activity that we all managers engage in to some degree, perhaps dozens of times every day. Besides everyday negotiation, in my career, at various stages of my career, I have been involved with various types of negotiations. Like in my earlier days, negotiation with Field Staff Association, negotiation with Office and Plant Union, negotiation for acquiring a company, negotiation to hive off tail range brands, and negotiation for financial restructuring of business. And it can go on. Through experience, I have learned that in all types of negotiation, there are some fundamentals, some of which Ajit has just told us. But some of these which I have experienced are as follows. That before entering into the room for negotiation or wherever it's taking place, I learn to take personal inventory. What does it mean? It means, how do I feel about this negotiation? Because my feeling as I am negotiating is very important. Do I want to get it over very quickly? If so, I may give in too quickly, or I may give away too much. Or do I want to win no matter what's the cost? If so, we may become adversarial and damage the relationship during the negotiation process. As Ajit said, I also learned doing proper homework before negotiation. Ajit has told us a story, and I also learned the same thing. It's always good to know whom I am negotiating with before I begin the negotiation. what his or her reputation as a negotiator. Is he or she a win-win model or a win-lose model? I also learned to anticipate what the other party thinks and what I want during negotiation. Building trust is an important part that I've learned during my career. Negotiation is a highly sophisticated form, as you all know, of communication. Without trust, there can't be a meaningful communication. Instead, we all have manipulation and suspicion masquerading as communication. So I learned to be trustworthy. I learned to honor my commitments. I learned to tell the truth. And I learned to respect confidences. I also think, I don't know whether I can practice it so well even now, the skill to develop external listening and what it means. Most of us carry on an inner dialogue with ourselves. When we are trying to communicate with someone else, this inner dialogue becomes a problem because we can't listen internally and externally at the same time. When we negotiate, it's better to turn off inner voice and only listen externally. If you do so, I have realized I will not miss important non-verbal messages, facial expressions, or voice inflections when I listen carefully. Otherwise, these nuances in negotiating process may be missed out. I also learned to move beyond positions. It's risky to make myself vulnerable to someone. That's why in a negotiation, when one doesn't know each other, once again that French example, we must know very clearly and we must explain to others very clearly what is our position. Later, when the trust has deepened, we and the other party can risk more honesty and identity and our true interests. As a negotiator, it is our responsibility to ask questions that will uncover the needs or interests of the other party. If we have also done our job of creating a supportive climate, we are more likely to get honest answers. I have also learned that there is a need to trust my internal power. I learned that I should not assume that because the other party has one type of power, maybe a power of position, power of managerial hierarchy, that he or she is all-powerful. That's giving away my power. I learned to balance power by assessing the other party's sources of power and then my own. While there are many sources of power, they all break down into two categories, one internal power and the other external power. The former one, no one can take away from me and includes my personal power, level of my self-esteem and level of my self-confidence that I consider my internal power. External power may fluctuate with my position. If someone is laid off or demoted, one can lose position of power. Another example is, say someone is an expert in a technology, and if new technology is introduced, that person can lose his expertise in that field because the dynamics of power are so changeable. A negotiation, despite that, is never dead. So you must be patient. The power of dynamics may shift. Before negotiation, we also should work out what could be the best alternative. So before I used to begin negotiation, I used to measure very carefully what my options are. Can I afford to walk away from the deal? What other choices do I have if my approach doesn't succeed? What are the pros and cons of each choice? During my career, I also learned what is a real win in a negotiation process. I used to paint the best case scenario in a given situation and what also could be the worst case scenario in that situation. The area in between, everybody knows, may be called the settlement range between best case and worst case. If we can reach an agreement within our settlement range, that I consider as a win. So it's better not to drop below the bottom line. If we drop below the bottom line, we ourselves will feel bad and will feel bad about the deal afterwards. And we may not follow through on our commitments to the organization and to ourselves. And above all, if we are in a negotiation process, we must learn to enjoy the process. Negotiation, as you all know, is a process. Negotiation is not an event. There are predictable steps, preparations, creating climate, identifying interest, and selecting customers that we will go through during negotiation process. With practice, we all can gain skill at facilitating each of such steps or processes. As our skill increases, we shall discover that negotiation can really be a fun. While it has to be a win-win relationship in negotiation, the business gains have to be realistic and long-lasting. We must therefore design our strategy and tactics in such a manner that the final deal is not only successful, but is sustainable over a reasonable period. The economics of conducting and developing a business with various constraints have paramount importance. The economic value that managers can derive out of any negotiation process will always be helpful to any company to maintain and enhance its economic returns. With these few observations, I have great pleasure in inaugurating this beautiful seminar. All of us can look forward to meaningful deliberations under the guidance of various professional experts. I wish the seminar and the training program a grand success. Thank you.